Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Morgan Wolf. Let's get to our top headlines for the day. In Washington, D.C., a shouting match erupts during a House hearing after Attorney General Pam Bondi was asked to apologize to Epstein victims.
If you are willing, please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice. Please know for the record that every single survivor has raised their hand. Will you turn to them now and apologize for what your Department of Justice has put them through with the absolutely unacceptable release of the Epstein files and their information?
Members get to ask the questions, the witness gets to answer in the way they want to answer. The Attorney General can
That's
respond.
not accurate, Mr. Chairman.
Because she doesn't like the answer.
You're not going to answer this question, so let me just
Chairman,
say
I'll
this.
direct it to
What
you.
a massive cover-up.
No, I'm answering a question.
Chairman, will you restore her time? The witness is interrupted.
I'm not going to get in the gutter with this woman.
Stop the
She's
time
doing
and
theatrics.
let me have.
Bondi is facing questions from lawmakers about the Trump administration's handling of the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein's case records. The Department of Justice recently released millions of documents related to Epstein, but critics call for more transparency and uncovering certain redactions. Well, this afternoon we have a new exclusive poll showing that people here in Minnesota are losing confidence in the Trump administration's immigration agenda. When asked about recent tactics by ICE officers and Border Patrol agents, 66% of Minnesota surveyed say that officers and agents have gone too far. 23% say that the tactics have been about right, with 10% saying that they haven't gone far enough. 2/3 of people in the poll say that they want to see ICE either reformed or abolished. 43% want it reformed, 26% want it abolished, and then 31% would like ICE to continue in its current form. For a closer look at these results, you can head over to our website, KARE11.com. This comes as Governor Walz announced Operation Metro Surge could end in not weeks, but days. Walz said that he expects an official announcement could come from the feds by Friday, ending more than 2 months of intense immigration crackdown in the Twin Cities.
They've got to believe they accomplished what they were going to accomplish. It's my understanding they think they did, that they think they have accomplished that.
Walz says that he spoke with President Trump's border czar and chief of staff. Both officials gave him the impression that they will claim victory and then end the surge of ICE and Border Patrol agents in Minnesota. Walz expects that the agents will go home next week at the end of their 30-day rotation without being replaced by new ones. As news of the possible drawdown continues, we are taking a look into a chaotic ICE arrest that was made inside the Hennepin County Government Center. This is of a man facing a felony drug charge for possessing over 50 pounds of meth. A calm Hennepin County Government Center this afternoon.
I was standing over in this area.
But earlier in the day,
It happened very quickly.
there was chaos. Natalie Pauly took this video of who she believes are federal agents in plainclothes arresting a young man.
I feel like sunlight is the best disinfectant in making sure that we are all following the Constitution.
The Hennepin County Sheriff's Office says that they weren't involved, nor were they with a similar incident at the building last week. Sheriff Dewana Witt says that her department doesn't do any kind of immigration enforcement amid de-escalation talks with the Trump administration that are calling for collaboration with local law enforcement. Sheriff Witt sat down with Kent Erdahl on Friday.
We have not made any decisions to change our current ways of doing things. None of our policies have been changed.
After witnessing the commotion this morning, Natalie fears that this will continue to happen in the building.
I think we all can agree that buildings like the courthouse serve great public purpose. There's a variety of different things that happen here. And just from the criminal side of things, how can you expect defendants, victims, and witnesses to want to keep coming when they see things like this happen?
I reached out to the Hennepin County attorney that released a statement to us saying, quote, using local government courthouses for federal civil immigration enforcement interferes with the administration of justice and prevents witnesses from testifying while also robbing victims of their opportunity to seek justice. Today, lawyers who were granted access to the Whipple building are now saying that they found incorrect phone numbers for legal counsel inside that building and also some difficult phone instructions. Detainees that they spoke to also said that they slept on the floor with no bedding. The lawyers got access after a lawsuit says that a woman did not get to contact a legal representation while being detained. Journalist Don Lemon is adding a big name to his defense team as he faces federal charges for his alleged involvement in disrupting a church service in St. Paul. New court filings say that Lemon hired former federal prosecutor Joe Thompson to defend him. You might recognize that name because the former acting U.S. Attorney Thompson served as the lead prosecutor in the Feeding Our Future fraud scheme. He and a dozen other assistant U.S. attorneys resigned from the Minnesota office last month. Lemon maintains that he was an independent journalist covering an anti-ICE protest that disrupted a worship service that was happening in St. Paul. Lemon has called the case against him an attack on the First Amendment. Right now, officials from Hennepin Healthcare and Hennepin County are meeting to address a growing financial shortfall. It comes just a few weeks after the Minneapolis hospital said that it is in crisis mode right now and needs to find tens of millions of dollars in cuts. 100 employees have already been laid off and several services were shuttered. Developing today, one person is dead after an overnight house fire in Austin, Minnesota. That is just about 2 hours south of the Twin Cities. The fire chief tells us that they were called to this fire around 1:30 this morning. One person died and one other made it out. Another person was taken to the hospital with injuries. We have made some calls asking for some updates on them, but we are waiting to hear back. This afternoon, the BCA is investigating after officers shot and killed a driver during a traffic stop in Duluth. According to authorities, officers tried to stop a vehicle for recklessly driving around 10 last night, and they say that the vehicle sped off but was stopped a few minutes later. During this incident, shots were fired by 2 officers, hitting the driver who died at the scene. Right now in Canada, flags are flying at half staff after a mass shooting at a school killed at least 9 people. The shooter, according to investigators, is also dead. It happened Tuesday in Tumbler Ridge, which sits in the foothills of the Canadian Rockies. Police say that 6 people were found dead at the school and another died on the way to the hospital. Then 2 other people were found shot to death inside a nearby home that is believed to be connected to the shooter. At least 25 other people were hurt. New details this afternoon in the search for Nancy Guthrie, the mother of today's show's Savannah Guthrie. Reports now say that someone was detained, questioned, and then released overnight. Within the last couple of hours, the Pima County Sheriff Department said that no press briefings are currently scheduled at this time. But this afternoon, we are hearing from the man who claims that authorities took him into custody. Carlos Palazuelos says that he lives at the property where investigators were searching overnight. He says that he delivers packages in the Tucson area, but had nothing to do with Nancy's disappearance.
All I know is that they show my in-law a picture of somebody wearing a mask or something, and they supposedly look like my eyes.
The FBI director says that they are looking for persons of interest at this time. Savannah Guthrie shared the latest images taken from her mother's doorbell camera, saying, quote, "Someone out there recognizes this person. We believe that she is still out there. Bring her home." All right, turning now to the Winter Olympics. Right now, Minnesota's own Team Casper is making their Olympic debut in men's curling, hitting the ice against Czechia. For Danny Casper, the road to his moment here hasn't been an easy one. He recently found out that he has a rare neurological disorder that is impacting everything in his life, even his ability to walk. Alicia Lewis caught up with Danny before they left for Cortina.
Good drive, step.
Training to become an Olympic athlete is no easy task, especially when you're battling an autoimmune disorder.
Yeah, it's Guillain-Barré. I think it's named after a French guy.
U.S. curling Olympian Danny Casper noticed something was off.
So about 1.5 years ago, I started not being able to feel my hands and feet, couldn't walk, couldn't use my hands, use my phone, drink water or anything. And just kind of had it all throughout my body. And the first couple weeks couldn't really leave my bed barely, and yeah, it's a bizarre disease.
Guillain-Barré syndrome is a peripheral nerve injury. So basically your own immune system starts attacking your nerves.
Dr. Raymond Price is not Danny's physician, but he is a neurologist with additional training in neuromuscular diseases, which includes Guillain-Barré syndrome, or GBS. Dr. Price tells me why this disease is so hard to diagnose.
It can happen to anyone. It is most commonly caused by basically your immune system getting confused. Your immune system is exposed to a potential infection, usually within 2 to 4 weeks before this.
And although things have improved for Danny, he's still dealing with mobility issues.
Curling, you're standing for a long period of time, and that was pretty hard for me, still is.
Dr. Price says there's no known cure for GBS, but there is hope.
Usually people continue to improve for months or even a year after the original symptoms.
You know, with this, the doctors are just kind of like, yeah, hopefully you get better soon. Could be a couple months, could be a few years. Still the case. So that's hard, but you know, just kind of try to shift my focus and just kind of try to live in a way where I'm accepting that that's a part of my life. And, you know, luckily curling's not too bad on the body, but definitely still challenging. So, yeah, just day by day.
Danny really is a great kid. He is so charismatic and has such a great sense of humor. Can't wait to see what they do in curling. We have to talk about women's hockey, though, too. Team USA is heading to the quarterfinals after defeating Canada yesterday, their sworn rival. This was in the match between the U.S. and Canada, and let me tell you, it ended in a shutout with the U.S. scoring 5 goals. Team USA will likely be the top seed heading into the quarterfinals that will start on Friday. Stick with us. We got more news, Olympic stuff to talk about, and the weather after the break.